Good day to all. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm doing well, feeling well today. My room is getting a little packed because I'm had to move everything out of my other room into this one. So it's a little packed today. So I just wanted to, I thought we would start moving forward onto our professional development. So what we're working on is moving forward, or breaking the chains, those kinds of things. We set up. Let's see. We set up three principles. Our first one was it's important to find a foundation. Second one is goal setting, and we went over quite a bit of that. And the third one is self development, which probably includes self improvement, which we were kind of thinking exercise, diet, beauty and health, that taking care of yourself, professional developments, education, training, reading. The emotion code is one of ours that we've kind of been reading through. So that's what we're working on. And I thought I would start today out with go ahead and I'm just gonna look. I don't have a lot of time today. The procedure done this morning, so I'm just a little bit groggy still, not too good. Make sure that you guys get your yearly tests all ran, and I mean blood work, the whole um, all those fun tests that sometimes we don't want to do are very important, and that's exactly what we're talking about here. Taking care of yourself. How are we going to become the best that we can be in this life if we're not taking good care of ourselves? So that's one thing that we really, really need to do is our yearly checkups, yearly tests, yearly blood work, things like that. So today I'm going to move into professional development. Like I said, I with all of my schooling and training, I've had a lot of professional development. Now, I can't say I remember all of it really well, but each one left some kind of impression on me. When I say that, I mean in the way that it helped develop my mind and my self-esteem, or self-confidence. Remember we were talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and as each need is met, then you go to another level, and eventually making the final level, which is self-actualization, which is what we all want to make, right? And like the grief cycle, that can change depending on what situation you go to. Sometimes those basic needs, when you go through some big changes, won't be met at a certain time, so you're starting all over again. But our whole process here is to keep moving up that pyramid until we get to a self-actualization where it's very satisfying, right? And you're at a good place and you look back and you say, oh my goodness, I did well and I'm happy with where I'm at. So I feel like this is professional development has anyway helped me in a huge amount. So that's why I'm sharing it with you, because I really believe in it. Every time I went through it, I learned something different about myself. And one of the big ones that I really liked was one of my master's classes. Excuse me. In one of my master's class, it was on, it was it was the four brain quadrants and basically how they work. I found it fascinating. And a lot of the self-development tools that I went through a lot of them are, even the one I just went through is called DISC. And it's about learning, well, not only who you are and how some are personality types. That's the one I'm going to talk about today, Myers-Briggs. Some about how I process information. Some are about what drives me. If I have a team, what drives my team? I want to learn, what drives my team. So how does my team operate and how can I motivate them? And if I take these certain assessments, then I'm going to know exactly who they are and how to motivate them or how to help in some way if they're struggling with something. So the same thing as we go into our challenge eventually. In order to really help people, we need to know, we need to have certain tools that can help us figure out how to help them, which in turn helps us. So everything I've ever learned with my professional development, and it's been a lot, I think I went through the Myers-Briggs at least 2 or 3 times. And not only did it help me, it helped me understand my husband very well. And it was just this epiphany of, because I thought he was doing things just to make me mad, you know. I'm like, well, why is he doing that, you know? And I'd always get upset and angry with him. And when I learned to understand his personality type versus mine, I learned that he wasn't doing it on purpose. And all of these tests, all of these assessments, all of these learning tools that we're going to be going through in the next 2 or 3 weeks, because we have, oh goodness, we have 22 days left, 23 days left in the 100 videos. And then we're going to move over to our another page where we're going to start building it for our challenge that we're doing. So this will probably take up the rest of the time going through these assessments and kind of, I did see the Myers-Briggs. You could go online and actually take it. But I think we should be able to work through it ourselves. You know, there's a lot of information on it. And even going through the 4 brain quadrants when I did in my master's training, it was good. Like I understood a lot of things. And the Myers-Briggs as well. When I found out what personality type I was, I quickly understood, oh, well, that's why my husband's doing things he's doing. And also for your children and grandchildren. I mean, it's a great tool, and I just find it just ups your level of dealing with everyone in your life. Whether you're a leader, a business person, a grandmother, a mother, a wife, or a husband, you can use these tools to really become more emotional intelligent and just smooth out things that don't have to, the turbulence in today's society, right? We don't have to have that. Sorry, I'm my cat, I'm telling you, I didn't know I was allergic, but I seem to be. So I'm not going to do a whole lot today because I'm not thinking totally clear, but I think I will go over. I just found a quick little thing on how to engage and challenge your learners, and it's based on the whole brain quadrants. So I think we'll get enough out of it to kind of give you an idea of the different quadrants of the brain. So it sounds like the actual theory's been around since about the 70s. So it's on it's basically our brain is divided into 4 quadrants, and depending on what kind of individual we are, you know, we think from a different side of the brain. And I know there's other things out there, and maybe I'll dig into that too, on how, well, we know that book, Men Are From Venus, I think, and Women Are From Mars, maybe. So it's the same thing there. So men and women react and think differently from each other from the brain quadrants as well. I mean, I know you've probably heard men seem to be more logical, women are more intuitive. Um, or, you know, women seem to talk at an earlier age than men, and men grow taller faster. I mean, all those things. So we know there's differences also in the quadrant, and maybe I can look up some. I think that'd be kind of fun and interesting too, wouldn't it? Okay, so let's see. Now, one thing I will tell you that I call it multi-dimensional dimensional training or teaching. And I try to teach that way when I've had to. I did a master's level class, and I tried to use that principle in my teaching. And it's basically, and our church teaches that way. Our pastor does, and I love it. So basically, what you want to do when you're teaching a group of individuals, because most people are thinking from the different quadrants. So what you basically want to do is try to hit on all four of the quadrants. So I'm going to give you an example. This is what my pastor does, and I really like it. And I can't say if it's because I'm a visual learner or the fact that I like it because it entertains me, you know. Okay, Kitty, she pesters me. So this is what he does. So we come in, we have a great modern rock band who are just have phenomenal voices. So we do some praise music for about 15 minutes, I think 10 to 15. So then our pastor usually starts out with a really quick, brief video that's not very long, but it always has something to do with a message he's gonna um, give, right? So it's pretty quick. It's usually either funny or I don't know. It's good. It gets your attention. So going back to, if you want to say, going back to writing a good paper, what's the first thing you do? You use a very good intention line, right? You get their attention. That's also another way that this way of teaching is great. So then he does that for a few minutes, and then he starts out usually with some kind of examples, stories. Stories also resonate with different people. Okay, Kitty, sit down. And then he gives his sermon, and he always, of course, uses biblical references. And that's not real long. I'm going to say 20 minutes or so, maybe 30. And then he always ends with another video or something like that. That kind of, it definitely goes with it. It might be funny, it might be serious, but it goes with the sermon. And then we close out with, some music. So I just wanted to use that because that's a really good way of teaching individuals, because you're hitting on all four of the brain quadrants. And I think almost everybody should know now that not everybody learns the same. So in the classroom, not everybody can, so statistics for me was rough. I couldn't just watch the board and have the teacher write it up there and then instantly get it or read it. I had to have it repeated and repeated and repeated, and then I finally got it. But it wasn't easy. So, and I was sitting in class. My daughter and I did our master's training together, and we were in this individual class for the four brain quadrants, and I was amazed at how fast she could listen to the information and pick it up immediately. I'm not like that. I have to read it, memorize it, read it, and then once it sticks, I get it. It was the same way learning Japanese. In Japan, I had to relearn a lot of the alphabet because here in the States we kind of could cheat a little bit. That's not good. So when I got to Japan, I had to go back a couple classes, and we were learning about 200 words a week, and we were learning how to write the kanji. So for me, right when I got in there, I was sort of not doing well, and it scared me. I'm somebody that likes one of those overachiever type. So what I did is I went home every night, I pulled cards out, I wrote them down. So we had to not only say the word right, we had to spell it right, and we got marked off if we didn't. And Japanese has three different alphabets. So you have your Chinese symbols, you have katakana and katakana and hiragana. And so you had to combine all of those in sentences and get it right. So what I did is I was the kind that could not look at it and pick it up. I had to go home every night for a solid week and write it down. So I spelled it right, I drew it right, and then I could say it right. And by Friday of that week, I was getting hundreds on my tests. But some people can just automatically do it. It's amazing and pick it up. But so that's just one way I process different than someone else who could, my daughter, who could look at it and remember it right away. And she just got it. Like I didn't always get it. So that's just some examples. Okay, so let's see. So what is whole brain thinking? And I just love this. I love it because I feel like the more we know about people, the people around us, the more we're going to understand them and be sympathetic, or be not judgmental maybe, or not be angry or something. So this model, this whole brain thinking was developed by Ned Herman, and it divides the brain into 4 quadrants. So each quadrant represents a different part of the brain: analytical, practical, relational, experimental. While everybody has these quadrants, it advocates that we all have a preferred way of thinking without even realizing it. And that's what I was talking about. I think it's so interesting. Some of us like to think outside the box and be creative, while others just want the straight up facts. It explains why some learners accelerate in certain areas and may struggle in others. So this is also kind of tied to that DISC workshop we did the other day, which was phenomenal, where we were finding out our drivers and motivations, what motivates us. And one thing, excuse me, that motivates me for sure is creative thinking, or thinking outside the box. I'm a big person thinker. I need to be in an environment where I can be creative and don't have to stay in a box. I can think outside the box. Not that it's good or bad, because you need everyone. You need the ones that are steady and like to stay within perimeters, and you need others who think outside. I mean, you need everyone. Okay, so it just helps explain why some learners get ahead in other areas but struggle in others. Okay, so basically the 4 quadrants, the whole brain learning, teaching, it helps develop or teach learning methods that exercise all areas of the brain when possible. Another example, and I think I put this earlier on in one of my videos. I was talking about Shackleton's adventure and how is leadership born or is it developed? And I was talking, and I actually used that in one of my online classes that I taught. And I had him either read the book or watch the movie, and pick out 3 or 4 leadership traits that he had. And then we just had a discussion about it. And, that's just one way, because I feel like, well, for some people, the video is going to resonate. The book, if they want to read the book, it's a little bit long, but there's a documentary too. So they're getting it in their brain, right? They can relate to it. And then others were able to learn from our discussions, because it was all online. And then I believe I had them write a story about it or something. So that's what I was trying to do, was incorporate the whole brain, teach them so the whole brain was engaging, all the time. So this also ensures that your learners are using the stronger side of their brain. So because everybody, INTJ, Connie, hey. So Connie says she's an INTJ, and I'll go over that in a minute. We're going to get to it because that's the Myers-Briggs. Intuition, let's see, I don't know all of it. INT, sensing, and I don't remember everything I am. Oh, here it is. INTJ is the architect. Is that? I think it says the architect. INTJ. And I don't have the full test in front of me, so if you want to post what that means for you, I know it's, I'm pretty sure intuitive is one of them. Thinking and judging, maybe, and N is intuition. Oh, N is intuition. I is, I think intuitive, and J is judging. So I don't know them all. I can so relate. So I'm going to go over it briefly, but I don't know the whole MBTI, but I am going to study it. Now, I did hear, I watched, the other day, I watched a podcast on, um, a lady was talking about another type of personality test that was more proven. So she must have been a professor because they like the ones that have been tested and peer reviewed. And she didn't have a lot to say about this one, but I don't think there's ever a time I haven't learned something. I don't care what the assessment was. I learned something because you take the little assessment, you're putting in what you think, like you just, and it kind of pops the answers out, and it's been pretty right on for me, right, Connie? I think you probably, I don't know what you think, but I think it's pretty right on. So let's see. An organization delivering training, it's unlikely you'll know which learning style suits your learners, especially if it's external learners like customers or partners. So it's unlikely that most learners fit into one single quadrant, which we were all built so you or born so unique. We're so unique. And I think there was a reason for that. Because think about it. If you guys were all the same, if you had a team and you all thought the same, how would that be? You'd get tunnel vision basically. It's nice to have somebody outside of your way of thinking and looking at things, because then it's you're getting more points of view and ways of doing things. So that's why it's important. But when people are hiring, it's kind of a known fact that they tend to go with people that are like them. And that's one thing that I have learned from all of this professional development is you don't want to do that. I mean, you want to decide, oh, thank you, Connie, for putting that up. Wonderful. Oh, good. Okay, good. Um, Connie posted, it looks like a personality test. Thank you for putting that up because I would have had to. So I really appreciate it. I did see where you could go in and take the assessment. I think it was $49 or something. But we'll see what we can do to work through it ourselves, just by going over it. It's not hard to understand, and even just talking it through, I think we could understand it. But we'll see if you guys want to do an assessment. And there's several. This is just one of many. So this, and then they're talking about clever use of e-learning techniques, and that's what I was saying. What can we do to hit all four cylinders of whoever you're training or whoever is learning from you? How can we engage them on? And that's what our 21-day challenge will set it up that way, so that maybe we can find a movie or video. Well, that, and I will be doing videos every day. Pretty dang close, yeah. Yeah, it is. It's very close. And then we'll do some writing assignments, and we'll do different ways of teaching and learning when we do it. So that's why I want to go over this, because I think it's so important for everyone. Okay, so the learning techniques favored by each quadrant. And hopefully, I don't know if it matters which site or anything it is of the quadrant, but so logical, facts and figure fans. So this group likes to know about proof points. They respond well to learning goals and objectives and like to learn in a clear, concise way. That means minimal text, lots of charts, data, research-backed information, and a direct learning goal. So Um, I'm not sure. So I like some of that. I like charts. I like data. I can't say that I have to have the research. Obviously, my my posts and my learning and I'm teaching on here has not been completely research based. So and it might drive some people crazy. Probably does because I don't have to have that to get on here and talk. I can just talk about what I think and feel and have fun with it. So, although I'm logical in facts and figures in ways, so anyway, so that's one part of the quadrant. Organize the rule followers. This quadrant likes order and procedure, just like quadrant A. They respond well to goal-oriented learning that's concise and planned out. They prefer to be prepared, follow instructions, learn via quizzes, step-by-step exercises, checklists, and with practical feedback. So that's my daughter is very much like that. She's always the one when we're playing fun games at the table who wants to get out the rule book. She likes it all in order. Now I am see the thing is though is the more you take these the more you do professional development, more that you study different learning techniques, the more you educate yourself and go through training, the more towards the center of the brain you're going to be. So meaning you're operating on all four quadrants. So I feel like I have moved more to the center because of all my training. And so although you're always going to be dominant on one side or the other, right? Um, because just like my creativity, I have to have something. I have to be able to think big. So let's see. They prefer to be prepared, follow instructions via learning quizzes, step-by-step exercises, checklists. And I like checklists too, but probably not as organized as most people, which I find a little bit strange because during this other one I took the disc, it said that I wasn't organized, and I think I'm pretty organized in certain ways. Drivers, so maybe the drivers are motivator or something, but so emotional. These are people persons. This group is more about abstract. They too like minimal details. However, they also like to explore ideas and muse on what they're being informed on. Oh, sorry, I skipped. They are empathetic, emotional in tune, and enjoy learning with other people. I think that's me. I do think that might be me. I would never say that I was more of an emotional person, but I guess I must be. They're cooperative and work well in teams where thoughts, ideas, and discussions can be heard. Seeing the information in action through stories and experiences is what they're drawn to. That's a lot of me, very much so. Holistic. Finally, the true creatives. And I think it's A, B, C, D. Finally, this group is more about abstract. They too like minimal details. However, they also like to explore ideas and muse on what they're being informed on. Idea generation and thought exercises are key to them learning best. And visuals, lots and lots of visuals. That illustrate key information and make learning more engaging. Yeah, I think I fall into those two pretty nicely. So this is whole brain thinking. Adding this thinking to how you train your learners takes a little planning, however. It does have benefits for your learners, and it isn't as complicated as you think. So they just want you to analyze your current training strategy. So they're kind of saying, they're saying think outside of the box and do some training that's a little more, that's going to be taken in by more people. So the traditional training or learning is text-based, data heavy courses with a quiz or regular webinars or only face to face. And in today's climate, we're doing more Zoom oriented training, which it's people are struggling. See, and probably the people who are struggling are the ones that need the face to face learning. You know, they need to be in that classroom and they need to um, have that kind of text based learning. It's a okay, so plan and create content that covers more than one quadrant to ensure maximum engagement. For example, if your training is all database, that's an attractive way to learn for quadrant A. So that's why it's important to learn if you have a team or even your family to learn how your family look, what their personalities are based on. You know, how do they learn? Are they quadrant A, where it's more, you know, I think it was the logical, right? More of the logical based? You know, is it quadrant B that's organized? Is it emotional or holistic? And if they do learn that way, make sure that you understand that and that they're not just trying to be obnoxious and make you mad or something. They're just being who they are. And just if you can, and you're teaching or you're engaging your children or grandchildren, try using a different method to see, because you can usually tell how people process information, but you do have to really engage with them. You have to understand how they're doing this, you know, what kind of personality type they have. So that's basically the whole brain quadrant. I want to find a picture of it because I think, well, there we go. I like pictures. And I thought it's kind of neat to put it, and I'll try to find one and post it, but put them in the different quadrants because then you can picture it a little easier. And if you've done a lot of training, you might have moved over into more of the center too, which is fine. I mean, that's what we want to do is grow and learn, right? Okay, so the Myers-Briggs type indicator is the MBTI, and it's 16 different personality types. So Connie said she's an INTJ, INTJ or ESTP. That's what most people learn their personality types after they do the assessment. I cannot remember uh, for the heart of me what I was. Oh, I think the first one's either an introvert or an extrovert, if I'm correct, Connie. That might be what it is. So Connie's saying her first one's an introvert. Mine would be an extrovert. So I'm an extrovert. And I or S, let's see, S is sensing. So maybe whether you're or or your intuition. So Connie's introverted intuition, thinking and judging, I think. I think that's it, Connie. And then they go on to explain exactly what that means. So I am probably, oh my goodness, definitely an extrovert. Extrovert, let's see. I don't know. I would say maybe more intuition, um, thinking and perceiving, maybe. So maybe a EITP, maybe EITP, maybe. I'm not sure. So we'll go over them real quick. Um, what these people are referring to is the personality type based on the Myers-Briggs type indicator or MBTI. That's okay. Let's see. I would have considered architect. First math 1, 2, 3 class in 1995. I had a graduate. This is what Connie's saying. I had a graduate student that only talked to the board. That only taught to the board. 6 weeks in the class, he asked me, "Why are you still here? You realize you're failing the class." Oh man, Connie, I've been there. Ugh, yikes. Right in front of the class, and my husband, I'm sorry. He should have never done that, Connie. I'm sorry. Gosh, people, oh my gosh, that's terrible. Um, Most humiliating experience of my learning. I'm so sorry. Diane Allen was able to teach me using all teaching methods for all of us learners. Did just fine and graduated with honors. Took me almost 15 years to realize that it wasn't me as a learner, it was instruction. If he did that as a teacher, in my opinion, he's a terrible teacher or professor. I don't know who it was, but why would you ever do that to somebody? So did just fine, graduated with honors, took me almost, yeah. It was instruction. I too am a book learner too and did incredibly well with hands-on experience. She was a fantastic teacher, one I really look up to and miss. I know we all do. Yeah. Thank goodness there are those teachers that understand, right, and know how to teach. That's just terrible. Just think about the people that drop out because they're not strong enough to handle it and don't keep going, right? So look at your story, Connie. You have a wonderful story. Wonderful. I'm sure you have already helped a lot of other people. Geez, that's just horrible. I might have said something right in class. Gee, that's so embarrassing. What an idiot he was. Gosh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that. Now I'm being judgmental, but it just breaks my heart. When someone's trying to better themselves and they go to class to learn and then somebody does that, that's just terrible. I mean, hurting people hurt others, right? I think I just heard that the other day, and so I guess I probably should feel sorry for that person more than anything. Okay, the Myers-Briggs personality type indicators a self-report inventory designed to identify a person's personality type, their strengths and preferences. Now, another test, another assessment tool is a Strengths Finders, and ISU is actually providing that for us, and we're gonna the girl I work with and I are going to go through that here pretty soon. They're running it for the whole college as a free assessment tool. You take the assessment and then you find your strengths, which is another great method you could do, as a team or your home, as a couple, whatever you want to do. It just helps. It helps with peace, emotional intelligence. It helps to learn to love another person. Once you understand, well, this is how this person operates. They're not doing things just because they want to hurt me or someone else. Amen, right? Connie said amen, right? I told him that even though I was failing, I had paid for the good for you the entire semester. Wow, gosh. Yeah, that's good for you. I in calculus I did the same thing. I had to take it. Now, I think I passed, but it was I'm going to say the first time it was probably a D. And when you're in I think by then I was in my master's yeah, I think it was my MBA that I was going to take. And you can't get anything below a C. And so I kept retaking. I took it 3 times. The third time, I got a great professor. He was just the best teacher. So, and he was from China. So when we got in there to begin with, I was already starting to panic because I couldn't understand him. Couldn't understand what he was saying. But he knew that kind of calculus, you had to absolutely do repetitive work on the board. So he repeatedly taught us repeatedly on how to learn. um, and by the end of the semester, I think I got it. I'm going to say it was an A or a B because it was hard. Like, I think we only had 4 tests for the whole class. So that's your whole grades. We might have had some homework too, but so I didn't do good at first, but then towards the end I loved him as a teacher in the end, and I'm like, oh yay, will you teach calculus too? I had tutors. Man, I was going to tutoring and everything. It was a hard subject. Okay, so let's see. So the MBTI inventory is one of the most widely used psychological instruments in the world. Now, like I said, this lady that was on this YouTube blog the other day, she didn't back this test up, but I liked it, and I feel like you can learn from it. Yeah, Connie's asking if Center for New Directions offer these tests. They do. That's the College of Tech where I work. Center for New Directions offers the tests. I don't know if I can ask them and see if we can, because most of the people on here are not from here. So they may be able to do an online thing. That's a good idea. I think I will contact them. This is another awesome professional development. Center for New Directions is an awesome place you can go and figure out. I mean, if you're going in a different direction, if you're a non-trad student and you don't know which direction you want to go in, they help you with counseling and all kinds of. They have some assessment tests as well on figuring out what career best suits you. It's really really good, Connie. It means I'm a troublemaker. That's okay. Troublemakers are good. And say instead of troublemaker, I would say outside of the box thinker. That's what I would say. You don't just settle. You don't settle, and we don't want to settle. So I like that. So both Myers and Briggs were fascinated, so they were developers of it, were fascinated by Jung's theory of psychological types and recognized that the theory could have real world applications. During World War II, they began researching and developed an indicator that could be utilized to help understand individual differences. A lot of these assessments were, some of them that I've seen were World War II. They came up with a lot of them, or in some kind of war situation because they were trying to help, the military. Connie says, I'm working in the judging part. I know. I don't know in this case if that's a negative, though. You know what I mean? It says the judging perceiving scale helps describe whether you're extrovert when you're taking in new information, sensing, intuition, or when you're making decisions. Okay. So that's interesting. So you're working on it. That's what I mean. Professional development. Once you learn it, once you learn these really what you are, then you can do some inner work, right? And start working on becoming a well-rounded person. That's why I love these. By helping people understand themselves, Myers and Briggs believed that they could help people select occupations that were best suited to their personality types and lead healthy, happier lives. And it's also the same thing when you're building a team or you're a leader in a team, or I like it for family work too. Then you can understand your family and how to help them be the best that they can be. So Myers created the first pen and pencil version of the inventory in the 1940s, and two women began testing the assessments on friends and family. They continued to fully develop the instrument over the next 2 decades. Tina, hey, Tina, I was just thinking of you the other day. Where's Tina been? How are you doing, friend? Good to see you on here. I've been missing you. Sorry, I have to take a drink. Okay. My bottle, the straw in it's not working, and I make really loud slurping noises. I don't think you guys would like that. The liquid I had to take this morning for my test, I think dehydrated me. And I usually drink 150 ounces of water, and I haven't got that down today, so I got to get that down. We're talking about professional development, Tina, and you may have went through the Myers-Briggs personality type, MBTI, and then also sort of how teaching or learning about 4 brain quadrants and how we all have different ways of learning. So that's what I'm talking about. Based on the answers to the questions on the inventory, people are identified as having one of 16 personality types. The goal of the MBTI is to allow respondents to further explore and understand their own personalities, including their likes, dislikes, strengths, weaknesses, possible career preferences, and compatibility with other people. See, now you can see why it's important. These assessment tools, all you can do, there is no negative whatsoever in doing these, and all positive in my thought process is how can it not help us if we learn more about ourselves? Not one personality type is best or better than others. It isn't a tool designed to look for dysfunction or abnormality. Instead, its goal is to simply help you learn more about yourself. The questionnaire itself is made up of 4 different scales. And this is where Connie was talking about hers was, let's see, what was it again, Connie? Let's see, INTJ, the INTJ. Okay, so this is the different scales. The first one is extroversion, which is E, and that's what I am. Introversion is I. The extroversion introversion dichotomy was first explored by Jung in his theory of personality types as a way to describe how people respond and interact with the world around them. And it's not right or wrong, it's just how it is. People are just, this is how they're born. My husband was definitely an introvert. So we were exact opposites, and that's a lot of times what you're attracted to, right? Is the opposite. And honestly, that can help you become more rounded. So that's not a bad thing. While these terms are familiar to most people, the way in which they are used in the MBTI differs somewhat from their popular usage. So the extroverts, also often spelled extroverts, well, okay, are outward turning and tend to be action oriented, enjoy more frequent social interaction, and feel energized after spending time with other people. Absolutely, I'm like that. And if I didn't know before, after COVID-19 popped its monstrous head into our world, I found out because I did really good for 3 months, but then I can't do it. Like, I have to be around people now. I've got to get out and be around people. Connie, what a great teacher you had. Yes. Yeah, he would. Yes, he was. He's retired now, but super good. Super, super. Uh, I, like I said, I can go so long, but then I have to spend time with people. I have to get out. And I've been going to the gym since way back in July, I think I started back. Because I have to get out. I have to get outside. Introverts are inward turning and tend to be thought oriented, enjoy deep and meaningful social interactions, and feel recharged after spending time alone. Which, think of it. I mean, thought oriented, enjoy deep and meaningful social interactions, and feel recharged after spending time alone. Thank goodness we have all types, because can you imagine a world with all extroverts or a world with all introverts? You have to have both because we all think so differently. And that's, I'm sure, why we were made to have. We were made as such unique individuals. So my husband was definitely an introvert. Like if there was too many people around, it really made him uptight. And he would always be the one that went in the other room and sat down and talked to one person. And that's what he preferred. I mean, he really didn't like the whole social environment thing at all. And and you could see how that could be a problem because I did. We worked around it, but wow. So we all exhibit extroversion and introversion to some degree, but most of us tend to have an overall preference for one or the other. Okay, the next one is sensing and intuition. This skill involves looking at how people gather information from the world around them. Just like with extroversion and introversion, all people spend time sensing and intuiting depending on the situation. According to the MBTI, people tend to be dominant in one area or the other. Tina says that's me. Lol. That's you, an introvert or extrovert, Tina? You have to let me know. I'm not sure because I'll say something and then you guys post. I don't know when I said it, so you have to add a little more info and then I'll understand. I'm guessing it might be. Oh yeah, so you're more of an introvert. I get more I get overstimulated. Yes. Okay. So you're more of an introvert. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so this skill involves looking at how people gather information from the world around them. Just like with extroversion and introversion, all people spend some time sensing and intuiting depending on the situation. People who prefer sensing tend to pay a great deal of attention to reality, particularly to what they can learn from their own senses. An introvert, okay, yeah. So you're an I like Connie is. Um, okay, so what they can learn from their own senses. So I see it like it is, maybe. What I see, I believe, maybe that kind of thing. Did I hear it? Did I see it? Maybe I'm. They tend to focus on. I'm trying to figure out if I'm one of those. That's why I'm saying it out loud. They tend to focus on facts and details and enjoy getting hands-on experience. Okay. Gosh, I don't know if I like the facts and details though. That bores me. I do like the hands-on experience. Those who prefer intuition pay more attention to things like patterns and impressions. They enjoy thinking about possibilities, imagining the future, and abstract theories. Hmm. I kind of think I might be a S in that regard. I was thinking I was an I, but they enjoy thinking about possibilities, imagining the future, and abstract theories. I kind of do that too, though. I'm not sure in that one. I might be a little bit. I like the hands-on experience too, but that's interesting, isn't it? So the next one's thinking or feeling, T or F. This scale focuses on how people make decisions based on the information that they gathered from their sensing or intuition functions. People who prefer thinking place a greater emphasis on facts and objective data. I think that might bore me. They tend to be consistent, logical, and impersonal when weighing a decision. Those who prefer feeling are more likely to consider people and emotions when arriving at a conclusion. I have a feeling I'm more of a feeling than thinking, but gosh, I don't remember. I'm gonna probably take this again just because I would like to know and make sure I remember. Because every time you come across somebody who's had this test, they're like, "Oh, what are you, an INTJ?" And I'm like, "I don't remember." Okay, judging and perceiving is the next one. The final skill involves how people tend to deal with the outside world. Those who lean toward judging prefer structure and firm decisions. People who lean towards perceiving are more open, flexible, and adaptable. These two tendencies interact with other scales. So, those who lean towards judging prefer structure and firm decisions. People who lean towards perceiving are more open, flexible, and adaptable. I think I'm probably perceiving. Man, I just would think, yeah, huh. These two tendencies interact with the other scales. Remember, all people at least spend some time extroverting. The judging perceiving scale helps describe whether you extrovert when you are taking in new information, sensing or intuiting, or when you're making decisions, thinking or feeling. The judging perceiving skill helps describe. Oh, okay. Hmm. See, that's very interesting. So then it just says, it kind of gives your occupation based on when you have when you take the assessment and whatever your um, four-letter code comes out as, kind of says the best thing that you should be. So maybe we'll guess it based off this. So the ISTJ is the inspector. The ISTP is a crafter. The ISFJ is a protector. The ISFP is the artist. The INFJ is the advocate. The INFP is a mediator. This is what Connie was, the INTJ, the architect. INTP is the thinker. ESTP is a persuader. Here's the extroverted ones for me. So Tina, you probably fell under the I something. See if, excuse me, if you can guess which one was you. You might be the thinker, I don't know, or the advocate. I'm not sure what you think. So ESTP is a persuader. Ooh, I might be some of that. ESTJ is a director. ESFP is a performer. ESFJ is a caregiver. I don't think I'm that. ENFP is a champion. ENFJ is a giver. ENTP is a debater. And ENTJ is a commander. Yeah, I'm definitely one of those. I'm just not sure which one, because so definitely the extrovert. What did I say when I was reading it? Sensing, I think I might have ES. So ES. Um, Gosh, and I was thinking maybe the F, and then perceiving P, the performer. I don't know. TJ thinking, and yeah, maybe I don't know. So I think I might be the ESFP or something. But I think since I took this, like this has been, oh goodness, oh my word, I bet you it's been 6 to 10 years ago I took this. Maybe not that long, but um, I think over time you can change and move towards the middle and sort of be more well-rounded in all areas. So, but I find it very interesting to look at that, because if you look at it, you can also realize I maybe need to work on some things. So if you're the extrovert, and I am definitely the extrovert, can you do more listening when because I don't know, for me, I'm a talker. I don't know if you guys realize that, but when I'm out doing my extroversion, can I listen more than I'm talking? But I did notice when I was first at the gym and stuff, I was more introverted, and when it comes to dating, I seem to be. So I think it just sometimes depends on the situation. But the more I've been out, the more I seem to be coming more into my personality style. See, that's interesting too, isn't it? Since I've been single for this long, I think I'm really growing into my true personality type. Not that I'm not working on being, growing, but definitely that's interesting. So taking the Myers-Briggs type indicator can provide a lot of insight into your personality, which is probably why the instrument has become so enormously popular. Even without taking the formal questionnaire, you can probably immediately recognize some of these tendencies in yourself. According to the Myers-Briggs Foundation, it is important to remember that all types are equal and that every type has value. That's what I love most about it, because, like I said, you can use it in your family environment. And learning that my husband was more of an introvert, and he didn't like those situations, and I loved him. then you understand that, right? And so you don't force him if it's going to upset him. Like I think he got anxiety if there was just way too many people around. Okay, according to the Myers and Briggs Foundation, it's important to remember that all types are equal. Okay, when working in group situations in school or at work, for example, recognizing your own strengths and understanding the strengths of others can be very helpful. When you are working towards completing a project with other members of a group, you might realize that certain members of the group are skilled and talented at performing particular actions. By recognizing these differences, the group can better assign tasks and work together on achieving their goals. And that's one thing that's just come into my mind after reading that is how important as a leader it is when you're in a group of people and especially when you're brainstorming to figure things out, is if there are introverts in the crowd, how can you talk with them after the meeting, after the brainstorming? Can you email them privately and get their thoughts? Because listen, they're deep thinkers. We want we want input from deep thinkers. So make sure you somehow tap into that personality, that person that's like that, because they have good ideas, but maybe don't want to speak up about them. First, the MBTI is not really a test. There are no right or wrong answers, and one type is not better than the other. The purpose of the indicator is not to evaluate mental health or offer any type of diagnosis. Also, unlike many other types of psychological evaluations, your results are not compared against any norms. Instead of looking at your score in comparison to the results of other people, the goal of the instrument is to simply offer further information about your own unique personality. Learn more about yourself and the people that are around you. So, this is the reliability and validity of it. According to the Myers and Briggs Foundation, the MBTI meets accepted standards of reliability and validity. However, other studies have found that the reliability and validity of the instrument have not been adequately demonstrated. Okay, so they're saying that studies have found that between 40% and 75% of respondents, 75%, have received a different result after completing the inventory a second time. So I kind of wonder on some of these assessments, though, depending on what you're going through and maybe the job you're at, may have you answer differently to different assessments too. Okay, so that's the MBTI. I'll look into Center for New Directions and see if we can take it online. So I also talked about doing a Zoom meeting. Just whoever wants to get in, we'll just do a Zoom meeting this week if you want to. But you'll just have to message me your email, and we'll set up a day and time for it. It'll probably be in the evening, like I don't know, later in the week about 7 or something, or we would just want to talk through sort of your story and just kind of get to know each other. But I can also look into this and see who wants to take it and see if they'll charge it, or I know they Center for New Directions based on money from the state, so it's supported by state money, and so they may have an option of doing it for free for non-trad students, which we are, right? Okay, let's see. So this is the 25th, Monday already. Gosh. And this is our message for today. Let my love enfold you in the radiance of my glory. And it's been hitting me every day. Sit still in the light of my presence and receive my peace. These quiet moments with me transcend time, accomplishing far more than you can imagine. Bring me the sacrifice of your time, and watch to see how abundantly I bless you and your loved ones. Through the intimacy of our relationship, you are being transformed from the inside out. As you keep your focus on me, I form you into the one I desire you to be. Your part is to yield to my creative work in you, neither resisting it nor trying to speed it up. I'm always trying to speed it up. Always, always. That's why he's making me learn patience. Enjoy the tempo of a God breathed life by letting me set the pace. Hold my hand in childlike trust, and the way before you will open up step by step. That's so good for today. I thought that was so good. Connie, ESFP. Extrovert, sensing. Are you saying that's probably what I am? Feeling and perceptive, is that what it is? Yeah. I think that's what I saw too, which surprises me a little bit, but and is that the performer? I think that one's the performer. ESFP, the performer. Oh goodness, maybe that's why I want to be a motivational speaker. I don't want to be an actress though. Ooh, no thanks. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting, isn't it? Very interesting. Well, okay. I guess we better end it for tonight, and I'm going to get some more rest in, get to work tomorrow. I'm going to check on whether we can take the MBTI, and then I'll look into some other assessments too, and we'll just kind of go over different ones and if anybody's interested in them. Thank you, ladies, for being on here tonight. I very much appreciate it. I miss you when you're gone. I've been missing both of you. So, okay, God bless you both, and you have a very nice night, and I will talk to you on here tomorrow. So, love you. Bye.